So I thought I'd make a quick video on this SL-5200. Sorry, the water softener is running behind me, but I'll try and talk loud. Anyway, so this is my personal machine. And of course, when something breaks here, I pretty much just shove everything off the bench and plop whatever it is down that's broken, because I can't stand things that are not working. So excuse the mess. Anyway, so I was trying to watch Dragnet, which I've never seen. And I probably will never see it because the tape got all sticky, and it's actually the first one I've really had in a long time that's given me trouble. So anyway, as I was cleaning the heads and trying to get the thing to stop squealing, it actually stopped the drum entirely. I put it back together, and I noticed that I had no hi-fi sound anymore. So this is from '83. This is Sony's, I think it's the first hi-fi stereo VCR, period. They claimed it had CD quality audio. Aside from the buzzing that you get, it's pretty good. But there's a few things I like and a few things I don't like, but this is one of my more favorite machines. I think it's pretty neat. It doesn't have many features, but anyway, I'll show you what it's doing. So if we turn it on, you can see here, let me focus. All right, you can see that it's in hi-fi mode and I'm getting nothing. Now I'm feeding in a 1K tone into the AV jacks, and I've got the aux button on. So when I turn off beta hi-fi, you'll see it. I'll turn it up. Hear the tone. So we've got audio, we've got mono normal audio, as the service manual calls it, but I have absolutely nothing in hi-fi. And also when I play a tape, you'll see there is no hi-fi sound. So you can see no audio at all. However, when I turn hi-fi off, and you can't actually turn hi-fi off on this unless it's broken and I just don't realize it, the only way to turn hi-fi off is to mess with the tracking until hi-fi drops out. There you go. You can just hear it over that water softener. So we have normal audio, but it's pretty low. So let me go back into hi-fi. And we're back to nothing. So I'm going to walk you through what I found, and we'll go from there. And I think I might, well, I'll wait. Let me show you where I'm at. All right, so here's our service manual, and this is the block diagram. So this over here is a lot of hi-fi processing coming off your heads. Hope this is in focus. Anyway, so we already know that we have an issue here with the input, the AV input. So here is your line in. There's your aux switch. Come over here. That's your record level area. And then your signal comes down here, and it goes into this board here, your noise reduction board. I think this is the DBX processing, perhaps. Focus, there you go. So anyway, your left and your right come in here. There's a switch, and then it comes through this processing here, and then you have a monitor, left and right and left out. And this thing's really not focusing too well. And then down here, there's this LC board, which is the one that's mounted underneath this assembly here. And this is where the audio switches between the normal audio, which is your mono audio, and from your well, it comes off your audio head. It's your linear audio. Okay, there it is. So they just sum it, and it comes into this board here. But anyway, so there's your normal audio and your stereo, your hi-fi, and that is switched right here. So both channels are affected. So of course I'm thinking, well, I'll just get the scope and I'll check for a waveform. I'll put 1K into it, check for a waveform right here, and make sure that I get it. I got normal audio. I got nothing from hi-fi. Now, wisdom would say that if both left and right channel are out, it's generally something that's shared, which would be power. But of course, I like to do things the long way, and I kept tracing back, and I got no audio here, and I got no audio here, and I think, yeah, I got nothing here. And I'm like, okay, let's check some voltages. I have I have a low 9 volts. My regulated 9 volts is at 2.2 volts. So we'll go to the service manual portion, or the actual schematic, and I'll show you where that is. Okay, so this is LC3, which is this board here. You'll notice something a little different about this, which caught me. There are 4 ICs here to there. I'm looking here and I'm like, well, the audio comes in here to IC, what is it? Of course, now I've lost my place here. Monitor left and right. AF switch. AF SW is the actual switching between normal and hi-fi audio. So it's what, 304? Yeah, because this is your 15 and no, this confused me before. 4 and 14 here. That's your normal audio. I'm trying to look over my phone as I do this, and then 12 and 6 are your hi-fi, and that's where it's switched there. So I'm like, oh, 304, I'll just use my scope, check those pins for that waveform and see if it's there. Oh, there is no, the IC doesn't exist. Well, this is why I got lucky with the paper schematics. There was a supplement, and the supplement applies to, I believe, the timer, I don't know what TM40 does, but LC3. LC3 has been changed, and there it is. So there's your 2 ICs instead of the 4 that were there before. Anyway, long story short, up here's the switching, and the hi-fi still wasn't there, so I went all the way back through here. And since it was both channels, I should have just started and said, do I have the voltage that I need? Like, let me go back and look. And I just happened to start with the NR4 board, and I found that was it IC 501 and 503? These guys. So this comes in from, I believe, your volume control and your inputs, and it comes from FS27, and it feeds into these guys. And there was no 8 volts here. It was something like, I don't know if it was 2.2 or what, but it wasn't 8. And it's fed here from this regulated 9 volt line, and that measured 2.2. So I'm like, okay, well, there we go. That's probably the issue. So since we don't need to go up here, we can use this non-supplemented schematic. Regulated 9 volts comes from Q308. So here I had 12 volts present, and I had, I think, 9.4 or something like that, and I had 2.2. So I would almost guarantee that Q308 is the problem, which is fine. I think I've seen that happen before. Actually, I think this happened with on a 12 volt vids video. I think he had distortion. Well, I have nothing, so there's another symptom that will cause. And so Q308 is this guy here. And so, like I said, I checked it, and it was not right. So I went into my parts bin and thought, well, that's kind of an older Japanese transistor. A 2SD773 is what it calls for. And I'm digging around on the bottom, and what do I find but an original? I can't focus on that, but it's a 2SD773. Kind of weird. Weird that I would have the exact transistor. I look at it, it doesn't really look like an original transistor to me, but it's identical to that, and the printing's all wonky and funky. And I remember now that I bought this in 2022 off eBay, and I'm pretty sure that it's fraudulent. But it might be good enough to work for a short time, and then it probably cooks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this and see if it fixes the problem. And if it does, I'm going to try and find an original part. I think it's maybe a Toshiba or a Hitachi. I'm not sure who made it, but I'm going to try for an original and put the right part back in. But let's just see, because this did work, I guess, when I must have done this before. I don't even remember 3 years ago. But anyway, I'm going to put this in, see if it works. And if it works, great. but I'm going to order a proper part. Okay, there's our old one, and I was mistaken. This has never been touched. I have two 5200s, so I must have bought the part for the other one. And there it is there, so must be a pretty underrated part then. A pretty common failure, I guess, if these are all suffering from that. Or at least they both have so far. So here we go. Let's see if it works. Let's plug it in first. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, there's our normal audio. There's our hi-fi. There you go. Actually adjusts again. Let's try our tape. Oop. Ooh, some swearing there. All right, cool. So that was it. Kind of dropping out quite a bit. I recorded this tape on here, and I can't say that I'm... Huh, look at that. It's kind of interesting. Odd. Why did I just lose a channel? Huh. Strange. Really strange. I wonder if it's recorded that way. Maybe it's having trouble in the recording. Huh. Well, I don't love that. So it looks like I did, in fact, lose my left channel, but only in tape playback, which is interesting. This is a completely different tape. I recorded that other tape, and who knows if I had done it right. But anyway, this is a commercial tape, so I only have a right channel. Everything looks good on this board. I have on the output of the noise reduction board here, I have a missing left channel. And on the input of this board, which comes in here, I have a left and right. So the problem's on here somewhere. So I'll see what I can find. All right, so continuing on here. So I have audio here at the input of this board. I don't know why this is all choppy, I'm sorry. And nothing at the output on the left channel, okay? That's NR4. So here's the NR4 board here. And here's where we have audio from the input from our 1K tone generator here, but I don't have it coming into the left channel here, which is our tape playback. They're calling that DEC. They call it DO or DEM, I think, on that board. I assume they meant demodulator, but maybe not. Okay, so this is a switch here. It feeds into pin 7 of 501 and 502. I've got signal at 502. I have no signal for the HiFi input at 7. And this is switched by the regulated 9 volts. I guess when you play a tape, that turns on and sends our 9 volts. So you think maybe something could have been damaged by that low voltage. I don't know. Maybe. Let's check the simple things first. So if we look down here, got two capacitors, two coupling capacitors here. And then we've got our playback level for HiFi playback. So I checked here. I have sound at the input, or at this side of this trimmer. And I have a waveform at the wiper. And this one, I have a waveform at the where it comes into the trimmer. I have nothing at that wiper. And I have nothing on either side of the cap, of course, and I can see the signal on the right channel at this capacitor. So I'm just wondering, I wonder if the controls are giving me a problem. So I went here and I marked each trimmer where it was, and let's see what happens if I give it just a tap or so. Hey! Look at that. Just tapping it brought it back. So there you go. Sometimes it's a lot simpler than you might think. You just have to trace it out. So I've noticed that my HiFi audio seems to really peg those meters, and I wonder if it's correct. So I may actually see what the adjustment is for that and perform that adjustment while I have this open. The first thing I'm going to do here, though, is take a little fader lube and just gently clean these and work them around, just to make sure that they're not going to do this in the future. Okay, so I am back again here and looking at the adjustments. So I'm going to start with my my level meter sensitivity adjustment right here. So it looks like they want me to put a 400 hertz tone in at negative 10 dBs. Are they really saying dBs there? I'm going to assume negative 10 dBV. So what is that? 316 millivolts RMS, I think. And then we're going to connect a VTVM, which I don't have. Excuse me, it's not working right. So I'm going to use my old Fluke here and call that good enough for government work. And we need to check these chips. So TP501 and TP502, which is pin 14 on the NR4 board. It's that second pin in down there is 14 on each one. So, and then our actual adjustment is on the LC3 board right here. So I've already cleaned these and I marked them just to see how far off they were. I've already done this adjustment, but we'll go back and do it again. So I've already cleaned these, but let me set it back up. Okay, so the first thing I did was I set my tone generator. I have an old LV192. You can't, it's not actually running into the meter now, but I set it for -10 here. And then we've got the -10 running in here. And what it says to do is attach the meter to those pins, and then you're going to bring up your record level meter until you get 184 millivolts. Or it's like -21. What is that? -21.5 dB, they say. So it ends up being that your controls are almost smack on number 8 here. And then what it wants you to do is adjust these left and right. That's going to be your meter control. So you adjust them down to the beta mark right there. Now, let me show you where it was before the adjustment. I'm just going to put that back up to where I had the mark for the left channel. That's not exactly where it should be. So we'll go ahead and bring that back down. So now when I watch a movie in stereo, the meters won't just be slammed against the red there, hopefully. So I've also noticed on this one that I don't know if those got adjusted or if they drifted. I've seen some of these things drift, not in this unit, but I've seen trimmers drift before. Haven't seen this type drift, but then again, I haven't been doing this for 50 years. So the other thing I noticed is that when it switches, let me shut that tone off. When it switches from HiFi to normal, there's quite a discrepancy in the level. And that may be normal, but I think I'd like to check that. So I'm going to have to get a test tape out and go through that procedure. So bear with me. Okay, so we've got our alignment tape. Put that in. I have to hold this board up while I put the tape in. All right, so we're looking at the Beta 2 HiFi section of the test tape here. So now that's our 400 hertz tone, and what they're wanting us to do is using the same IC 505 and 506 pin 14. We're going to look at that 400 hertz signal and adjust it to minus 15 dBV, I'm assuming. So we're looking at about 177 millivolts, I believe. So I got my meter here. I unfortunately can't really show you how I do that, but we're going to look again at pin 14 of these two ICs with our meter. And for this adjustment, we're on the ones that we cleaned earlier. All right, there we go. Got them adjusted. And there we are. Minus 15 on the meters. All right, so next we're going to do the normal audio side. So I believe I'll have to put all this back together and then flip the machine up to get to that board. I think the normal audio was on, was it VA? Where is it? Adjustment of normal audio system, azimuth, playback output level adjustment, VA 13, which I believe is on the bottom. So I'll be right back. So I've got the back off here, and on, what is it, board 13, VA 13, I believe, video audio 13 makes sense. This is our audio circuit. Here's our normal audio playback adjustment, and it is maxed. And it says, now it says that I should terminate the audio output with a 100K resistor, which I haven't done. But even then, with the control maxed, it says I should adjust for minus 30. With it maxed, I would expect we should be at least lighting something up here. So I have a feeling maybe something could be wrong in here. It's getting a little late, so I may make that a part 2 because it doesn't seem quite right. But I don't have time to go into it right now and dig that far in this evening. So I hope this video has been enjoyable or helpful to someone. If I dig into this, I'll try my best to make a part 2 to this video and see what the problem is, or if there is a problem. It's possible that the head azimuth or adjustment is wrong. I kind of doubt that it is. It doesn't look like it's ever been messed with, and I do not like to mess around with that ACE assembly if I don't have to, because once you start messing with it, if there's wear grooves in that head, it can be a bad idea to start messing around with it when it's worn. So I really don't want to mess with that, but I feel like I should at least get some more level out of this. But anyway, yeah, so stay tuned for part 2 if there is a part 2. See ya.